Imagine a perfect world. Comfortable temperature, complete safety, no diseases or bacteria, no more enemies and no need to search for food, and the population begins to die out. Not from hunger, not from war, but from paradise itself. This is exactly what happened in one of the most disturbing scientific experiments of the 20th century, and this is possibly what happened to one of the greatest civilizations in human history, the Maya. Today, we will talk about three things that at first glance seem completely unrelated: the disappearance of the Maya, a rodent utopia, and the future of planet Earth. And in the end, you will understand why these three stories are about the same thing. Around 900 AD, something incredible happened. The Maya, a civilization that built pyramids without the wheel, created an extremely accurate calendar without telescopes, and understood mathematics before most peoples of the earth, suddenly began to decline rapidly. Cities were abandoned, palaces were swallowed by the jungle. The population of the southern lowlands decreased by dozens of times. Scientists are still debating the causes. There are several official explanations. Drought. Climate data confirms that in the 8th to 9th centuries, the Yucatan region experienced a series of severe droughts. Without water, agriculture, the foundation of everything, collapsed. Overpopulation and soil exhaustion. At its peak, the Maya reached population densities comparable to modern developed countries. Forests were cleared for fields, the soil became depleted, and yields declined. Internal wars. Maya city-states were constantly at war with each other. By the end of the Classic period, warfare had reached a catastrophic scale. Social collapse. The elite became increasingly disconnected from reality. New palaces were built, lavish rituals were held, while ordinary people starved. Most likely all of these factors work together. But there is one detail that connects to our next story. The Maya civilization was not destroyed by an external enemy. They were at the height of their power when they began to collapse from within. A civilization that reached its peak and found nowhere to go next. In 1968, American ethologist John B. Calhoun began one of the longest and most carefully documented behavioral experiments in history. He built a paradise for mice, structure of the utopia. Calhoun created a closed habitat of about 2.7 square meters, an enormous space by rodent standards. It had everything: unlimited food, special feeders that never ran empty, endless water supply, nesting compartments, 256 units, each designed for 14 mice. Theoretically, the colony could grow to 3,584 individuals, complete protection from predators, disease, and adverse conditions, ideal temperature, hygiene, and care from researchers. The name Universe 25 meant this was the 25th attempt to create such a world. The previous 24 ended in catastrophe, but each time Calhoun improved the conditions, and this time he was sure everything was perfect. At the start of the experiment, 4 pairs of mice of different sexes were placed into the enclosure. The first months, silence. The mice explored the space, settled in, adapted. Gradually, they realized they had entered ideal conditions, a mouse paradise, then an explosion. Once the mice realized there was enough food and space for everyone, the population began doubling every 55 days. By day 315, there were around 620 individuals. Everything was going perfectly. Resources did not run out. There were no threats. It seemed that the colony would grow forever. But then something went wrong. Growth slowed, not because of lack of food, there was plenty, not because of disease. Behavior began to change. At its peak, the colony reached about 2,200 individuals, significantly less than the theoretical maximum, but the social structure began to fall apart, hierarchy collapsed. Under normal conditions, mice have a clear social structure. Males defend territory, court females, and raise offspring. But when everything is available and there is nothing to defend, why are these roles needed? Males lost their function, the emergence of handsome mice. Calhoun called them that, the beautiful ones. These were young males that did not fight, did not mate, and did not participate in social life. They only ate, slept, and groomed themselves. They looked perfect and were completely unmotivated from within. Older generations complained that the youth are exactly like this, and there are questions about the older ones too. Increased lifespan began to break stable social roles. Leadership did not pass to younger and stronger individuals. It became possible to rest on past achievements until deep old age. Females stopped raising their young. Mothers abandoned pups or aggressively rejected them prematurely. Some females withdrew into isolation. A complete child-free society. Aggression became chaotic. Instead of structured hierarchical conflict, random violence without reason or meaning. Doesn't it resemble modern wars? When resources and territory are sufficient, people often fight without a clear reason. Sexual behavior broke down. Males lost interest in reproduction. Females rejected males. It's not far from homosexuality. Birth rates dropped almost to zero. Despite abundant resources, plenty of space, no disease, infection, or enemies, the mice simply stopped wanting to live as a species. On day 1588, the last mouse in Universe 25 died. Calhoun called what he observed death squared. First the soul and will died, social roles, reproduction, meaning. Then the mice themselves died. He repeated the experiment many times. The result was always the same. The mice did not die from hunger or disease. They died because challenges disappeared. There were no reasons left to fight, build, defend, or reproduce. Calhoun proposed the idea of conceptual space. A living being needs not only physical space, but also meaningful space. Roles, tasks, conflicts, goals. When conceptual space disappears, the will to live disappears. Universe 25 did not collapse because there were too many mice. The problem was that the social fabric became too dense and confused, and there were not enough roles for everyone. True overpopulation is not when there are more people than food. It is when there are more people than meaning. They looked perfect, their fur was clean, their bodies healthy, but they completely withdrew from social life. No relationships, no struggle, no offspring. When Calhoun tried to reintroduce them into healthy colonies, they could not recover normal behavior. The shutdown was irreversible. Look at the fall of the Maya through this lens. The elite built increasingly grand monuments. But why? For whom? Social roles dissolved. War lost its meaning because no one understood what they were fighting for. People began to leave, literally abandoning cities. The Maya did not die from drought. Drought was the trigger. They died because the social fabric had already decayed. Calhoun's experiment raises one of the most uncomfortable questions. If we build a world without need, without hunger, without threats, what will happen to us? The answer biology gives is unpleasant. We may lose what makes us human. Not because we are bad, but because struggle, overcoming, meaning are not side effects of life, they are its fuel. Earth will not die from overpopulation in the way we usually imagine. It may die from something else. A society where everything is abundant but no one cares about anything. The Maya built countless pyramids, until there was no one left to build them. Calhoun's mice ate, groomed, and slept, until they died, and there was no one left to be born. And us? At what stage of the experiment are we?